Good evening and welcome to NewsNight. Tonight we'll have all your international, national, and local news. I'm Alyssa Mandarak.
And I'm Ruthie Light. Donald Trump is now officially President of the United States after the years of controversy he has gone through. We'll have details on his inauguration and what he has already done.
It has also been a whirlwind week for TikTok users. We'll recap it all for you and get the student body reaction.
All this and more coming up on NewsNight. After 15 agonizing and devastating months in the Middle East, the long-awaited ceasefire and hostage release deal between the Israeli government and Hamas took effect at 8:30 a.m. local time on Sunday. Although the deal was agreed upon between Hamas and Israel on Wednesday, it still awaited final approval from the Israeli government before it could be put into place. The 33-member cabinet discussed and deliberated for more than 7 hours into early Saturday morning before completely settling on the deal. The meeting concluded with 24 votes in favor of the deal and 8 against. The deal is made up of 3 stages. The first stage, which will be the first to take effect, will see a pause to the fighting in Gaza and the release of 33 Israeli hostages and nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners over the course of 6 weeks. Currently, Hamas and its allies still hold 94 hostages, and at least 34 of them are deceased, according to Israeli intelligence. Also, huge measures for humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip will be accounted for, as 600 trucks will be sent into the enclave per day to assist the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who are living in starvation conditions. Right now, hundreds of aid trucks carrying food, clothing, medical supplies, and other relief material are lined up at the Rafah border crossing. This will be the second ceasefire since the war started on October 7, 2023, when Hamas-led militants launched an attack on Israel, killing more than 1,200 people and taking about 250 hostages. Israel's response attack has killed more than 46,000 Palestinians, both combatants and civilians, and injured more than 110,000 in Gaza. This ceasefire deal is the only beginning, hopefully putting an end to the suffering that Gazans have faced over the past 15 months. Updates to come as the deal continues to unravel.
Ukrainians fear when peace may come to them as now President Donald Trump enters in the White House. February 24th will mark 3 years since the deadliest European conflict since World War II began. The clear relationship between Trump and President Vladimir Putin sparks concern for how this war will end. American military aid has been one saving grace for the survival of Ukraine, and recently they have seen delays in this aid. Becoming desperate for help and an end to the conflict, they worry more cities could become disposed to complete destruction. Trump had previously promised that he would end the conflict on day 1, which did not come to pass, and advisors have released statements saying negotiations could take months. He has not publicly released any strategy to be used to come to a deal. Major Yaroslav Galis said, quote, "Trump understands that the victory of Russia and the defeat of Ukraine is the defeat of the United States and his personal defeat as president. This is how the world would see it," end quote. Putin has shown resistance in making a quick effort to reach a peace deal, as they are actively making advances into Ukraine. Keith Kellogg, Trump's Ukraine envoy, had postponed a fact-finding trip to Ukraine that was set to take place before Monday. The Logan Act, which would restrict the powers of a private citizen in the involvement of a foreign government, was discussed in the postponement. Trump had said, quote, "I don't think it's appropriate that I meet Putin until after the 20th, which I hate because every day many young people are being killed," end quote.
More updates now in the war in Ukraine. Russia attacked the Ukrainian capital and Kyiv last week, killing 3 people and wounding 11 others. They carried out the attack using 39 drones and ballistic missiles to attack the capital. Russia stated that the attack was in retaliation for strikes that Ukraine launched at Russian territories. Ukrainian officials said that the drone attacks are frequent, but that ballistic missiles are not used as frequently. The attack caused a water main to rupture at the capital, leading to water flooding the surrounding streets. The war between Russia and Ukraine has been going on for nearly 3 years, and according to experts, there seems to be no end in sight. Ukrainian officials have offered some advice to residents living in the country's capital, including the mayor of Kyiv, who told residents, quote, "stay in shelters," end quote. Moving to Africa, another layer has been added to the crisis that has been unfolding in South Sudan for over a year now. Reporter Leslie Krebs has details. Leslie?
South Sudan has now imposed a dusk-to-dawn curfew on its citizens. This comes after recent violence and looting of businesses run by Sudanese traders in the capitals. Businesses are now required to close by 5 p.m. as the curfew begins at 6. The hope for this curfew is that it will stop looting in towns like Juba as well as many others. The violence was provoked after the killing of South Sudanese by militias in large places like Jazeera. This is only another result of the civil war in Sudan, which erupted in April of 2023. The war began due to an explosion of fighting between groups loyal to rival military leaders in the capital of Khartoum. This war has resulted in one of the largest displacement crises, a growing famine within the country, rape, and ethnically motivated killing, which the UN and rights groups report. For now, South Sudan hopes to regain some control and stop violence within their country.
After the short-lived declaration of martial law enacted by South Korean leader Yoon Suk-yeol, the former president is now spending time in prison awaiting trial. On Monday, he refused to be questioned as part of the investigation as he sits in jail awaiting trial to decide if he did indeed commit insurrection. At the same time, over 60 people were arrested after hundreds of people stormed the courthouse in protest of Yeol. They smashed windows and launched fire extinguishers at police. Acting President Choi Song-mak called the actions, quote, unimaginable. The former president's trial will continue in the coming months. When we come back, we'll be getting an update from our reporters on the LA fires as they finish their second full week of destruction. Plus, Donald Trump is now back in office. Hear about what took place at his inauguration and some of the administration's early actions related to immigration. We'll be right back.
As the California wildfires continue to thrive, devastating the state and nation as a whole, it seems there is still much more to be done as one of the world's largest lithium battery storage facilities, which happens to be in Northern California, burst into flames. Shortly after 3 p.m. Thursday afternoon, personnel from the Moss Landing Vistra power plant in Monterey, California, called for assistance from the North Monterey County Fire District after a fire was detected in the 300 MW Phase 1 energy storage facility at the Moss Landing power plant site. Fortunately, all Vistra personnel were evacuated from the facility safely. The Moss Landing Vistra power plant spoke about the incident in a statement shortly after the fire initially struck. The release states, quote, Our top priority is the safety of our community and our personnel, and Vistra deeply appreciated the continued assistance of our local emergency responders, end quote. Thursday night, roughly 1,500 Monterey residents were evacuated. The fire also closed a portion of Highway 1 that remains shut down to traffic as the fire continues to burn. However, previous evacuation mandates in the area were lifted shortly after Friday evening. Although evacuations were lifted, health officials still advised residents near the Moss Landing Vistra power plant to limit outdoor exposure and keep doors and windows closed until further notice. The fire has wavered for days, going from seemingly being in its last stages to bursting into flames once more. While the situation has caused Monterey County extreme stress, the fire is being allowed to burn itself out since water is not permitted for use in battery-involved fires. The cause of the fire is yet to be determined. However, a Moss Landing Company spokesman said in a release that there will be an investigation as soon as the fire is extinguished.
Former President Biden left the nation with a farewell address that made Americans question the intent of the new administration. In his speech, he said, quote, "Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead," end quote. All attention is now turned to the newly inaugurated Trump administration and its close quarters with some of the richest people in the world, specifically Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. These three men, along with TikTok CEO Shou Chew and Google CEO Sundar Pichai, joined Trump as attendees of his official swearing-in ceremony. A clear influence of the wealth and power these people will have on the actions of the administration are not something to be ignored. This has already been seen in a message displayed announcing the apparent removal of the TikTok ban as a direct thank you to the actions of Donald Trump. The arrival of Musk in the Department of Government Efficiency, alongside the growing relationship he has created with Trump, has been cause for speculation on the influence they might have on each other on this term. Allowing for technology moguls and other billionaires to sit so close to the president has raised questions of wealth inequality as well as the truth of free speech and misinformation. Prior to the inauguration of President Trump, Meta announced that they would no longer continue fact-checking services on their apps. Zuckerberg claims the practice is an infringement on free speech. However, it is a major transition to make only weeks before a new term. The company donated $1 million to support the inauguration, and he dined with Trump at Mar-a-Lago only months ago. Bill Gates of Microsoft, Sergey Brin, and Sundar Pichai of Alphabet Incorporated, Bezos and Musk, among other billionaires, have been known to also join Trump at his Florida residence. Speaking of Elon Musk, one of his companies had a very visible disaster seen by many in the Florida area. First-time NewsNight reporter Ava Breneisen is here to give us details on what SpaceX actually did. Ava?
SpaceX's seventh test flight of the Starship rocket, intended to be a major step towards Mars, ended in failure on Thursday. While the heavy booster successfully returned to the launch pad, the upper stage, known as the Starship, suffered catastrophic malfunction during its ascent. About 8.5 minutes after liftoff, the upper stage experienced a shutdown of several engines, leading to the loss of communications and a shower of debris over the Caribbean. Elon Musk shared footage of the incident on social media, calling it, quote, "entertainment," end quote. SpaceX confirmed that the leak of oxygen and fuel was likely the cause of the failure, and Elon Musk wasn't the only person to share footage of the aftermath. Many videos surfaced on the internet of flaming debris tumbling from the sky. But despite the setback, the company plans to address the issue and hopes to launch again soon next month. The Starship rocket is crucial for SpaceX's ambitions to send humans to the Moon and Mars, with NASA relying on the vehicle for further lunar missions. The company had hoped for a flawless flight to the new test systems, including the deployment of dummy satellites for its Starlink service. However, the failure is most likely to delay SpaceX's plans for the crewed missions, which are still a few years away. This test was a part of SpaceX's drive to increase this launch rate to 25 Starship flights per year, but the Federal Aviation Administration may require further investigation before the next attempt.
The LA fires are now entering the start of their third week, as they continue to rage on, with only some of the fires partially contained. Many have died directly from the fires, and others, including famed director David Lynch, may have indirectly died due to smoke from the flames. Reporter Leslie Krebs has the latest updates on the fires, the total death count, and the work that firefighters have completed so far. Leslie?
Since Monday, the death toll for the LA fires has risen to now 27. The true death toll is still unknown and won't be accurate until after the fires have been put out. Till then, only the found bodies are being reported. 31 people are also still missing, with 24 due to the Eaton fires and 7 from the Palisades fires. 41,000 people are also still under evacuation orders in the greater LA area, with some curfews still being imposed on residents. Firefighters were able to make some headway this weekend as wind gusts died down and allowed for some control. However, LA is expecting strong wind gusts within the next day or two, putting the area on high alert for raging fires. To make matters worse, 90% of LA is considered to be in a severe drought. LA's Mayor Karen Bass said in a statement, quote, "Everyone needs to be on high alert. Los Angeles and partner firefighters and pre-deployed, and we ask Angelinos to be prepared in case they need to evacuate," end quote. California's Governor Gavin Newsom also announced the release of, quote, more than 130 fire engines, water tenders, and aircrafts to Southern California, end quote. In total, the Palisades fires have burned 23,713 acres and are only 59% contained. Meanwhile, the Eaton fires have burned 14,021 acres and are 87% contained.
It is now official. Donald Trump has officially become the President of the United States for the second time, becoming only the second U.S. president to serve non-consecutive terms. Reporter Ethan Rowinski is here to give us an overview of what took place that day and what Trump has already accomplished.
Donald J. Trump, after 4 criminal prosecutions, 2 assassination attempts, 1 felony conviction, and 1 election defeating Vice President Kamala Harris, is back in the White House for a second term.
The golden age of America begins right now.
Trump's inauguration took place yesterday inside the Capitol Rotunda rather than outside due to freezing temperatures. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance took their oaths of office at around 12 in the afternoon, though Trump notably did not put his hand on the Bible used to swear him in. Trump spoke to the American people for the first time in his second term, lambasting the previous administration.
For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair.
He also laid out the largest goals of the administration, including immediate action on the southern border and illegal immigration, and aiming to make America stronger internationally via tariffs and controlling the Panama Canal.
China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
There were many high-profile people in attendance, including members of Trump's cabinet, many of the richest men on the planet, and also TikTok CEO Xiaozi Chu, who was sat next to National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard. Trump followed the day with multiple other ceremonies, including the traditional luncheon and the inauguration parade, moved inside to the Capital One Arena. It's here that Trump began his flurry of executive orders, many of which are already seeking challenges. They include withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord for a second time, withdrawing from the World Health Organization.
What is this one? Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir?
Ooh, that's a big one.
Pardoning over 1,000 people convicted of January 6th crimes and eliminating DEI programs.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders.
Including, quote, defending women from gender ideology extremism, end quote. It's unclear how effective these will be. While Trump aimed to make this a more peaceful and unifying inauguration, it appears his speech was filled with attacks and dismay at the current state of the country. We'll have to see how much of that energy influences the rest of his presidency. For UView Television, I'm Ethan Rowinski.
Keeping you updated on Trump's actions in office, on his first day, he enacted one of the largest and most regressive immigration policies, targeting both illegal immigrants and the 14th Amendment.
The policies include canceling the CBP-1 entry app, which Biden had instated that allowed thousands of immigrants to enter the U.S. legally by setting up an appointment for citizenship. Almost all appointments were canceled mere minutes after the president was sworn in.
This comes hand in hand with his Remain in Mexico policy, which requires immigrants to stay in Mexico until the resolution of their cases. Additionally, birthright citizenship is another target of this legislation, aiming to eliminate the right of citizenship to people born in the U.S., do not have at least one parent who is a U.S. citizen, challenging the 14th Amendment. NewsNight will keep you updated on how this affects immigration in the U.S.
When we come back, the frigid temperatures have returned to the region. Hear about the warnings and how to keep yourself safe.
And with all the confusion regarding the state of TikTok ban, hear about how Point Park students are reacting to the change. We'll be back in a minute. The National Weather Service has issued an extended extreme cold watch for Pittsburgh and much of western Pennsylvania, which started Sunday, January 19th, and is lasting through Thursday morning. The Pittsburgh region is subject to see some of the coldest air in almost a decade. Temperatures during this period will be as much as 30 degrees below normal, and dangerously cold winds as low as 25 degrees below zero are possible. The Pittsburgh area will have over 48 hours of below 0-degree weather for many areas, which can be extremely dangerous for anyone outdoors for a long period of time, as well as pets. The National Weather Service warns that wind chills as low as 25 below zero could cause frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 30 minutes. The forecasted low on Wednesday, January 21st, is -8 degrees. According to KDKA First Alert meteorologist Ray Petalin, the first time the area was that cold was on February 24th, 2015, when it was -9 degrees. Because of the dangerously low temperatures, warming centers such as Beachview Healthy Active Living Community Center and Brighton Heights Healthy Active Living Community Center will be open to the public from January 20th through January 22nd. As the weather continues to decline in Pittsburgh, stay mindful about your ventures outside and stay inside as much as possible to avoid dangerous situations altogether. Stay safe.
Penn Hills teacher Josh Willey was pronounced dead at the scene of a car crash on Friday morning. His car had driven off the Parkway East and landed in the 9-mile run stream after exiting the Squirrel Hill Tunnel around 8:30 that morning. Authorities believe that his car went over the guardrail following his exit, but are still unsure as to what exactly caused the fatal crash. Emergency crews arrived at the scene on Commercial Street to find the car in a ravine 80 feet below the parkway. Willey was a member of the district for over 23 years and held roles as a social studies teacher, gifted coordinator, as well as a youth baseball and basketball coach. The district has been in communication with the family and has asked for privacy for his wife and 3 children. Students and colleagues have expressed their love for Willey and what he was able to contribute to his community. They described him as a great teacher who focused on the students, as a funny guy, a loving father, and a great resource to ask questions. Penn Hills student Chase Delahanty said, quote, "He was very transparent with his students. He was a great guy. He was good. He was there for you as a teacher," end quote. Investigations regarding the crash are ongoing. The scene of the crash is located between Squirrel Hill and Swiss Helm Park. A 2024 Mazda 3 was pulled out of the wreck site after 1 p.m. Counselors will be available at the high school beginning this week to assist students, faculty, and families. Services can be accessed from noon to 3 p.m.
The Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium were in for some tough news this week as a beloved giraffe has passed away after battling a chronic condition. The 17-year-old giraffe Socks suffered from bone deterioration in her legs, but while she was undergoing treatment since the summer, her condition worsened. She was a fan favorite at the center, with her keeper, Lisa Caruso, stating, quote, "She was smart and curious and loved to train and learn new things, lie in the sun and eat bananas. Socks especially loved her friend Spencer the zebra, with whom she shared her exhibit," end quote. She will be dearly missed by zoo attendees. A trial has reached its conclusion in the case of Pittsburgh police officers abusing their power in an undercover investigation. Reporter Ava Breneisen has details on the settlement that was awarded to the plaintiff. Ava?
A jury has found that several Pittsburgh police officers used excessive force during a 2018 bar brawl, awarding Frank DeLuca $70,000 in damages. The incident occurred at Kopi's Bar on the city's south side when DeLuca, a member of the Paikin's Motorcycle Club, clashed with undercover officers. Jurors concluded that the detectives David Hoenick and David Lincoln used excessive force during DeLuca's arrest and found that the arrest amounted to malicious prosecution. However, they awarded just $3 in normal damages for lost wages and medical bills, as they determined that no substantial harm was caused. DeLuca's lawyer rejected settlement offers totaling $500,000, opting instead for a trial. The jury also ordered the officers to pay $20,000 each in punitive damages, with Detective Bergender responsible for $30,000. The city of Pittsburgh was dismissed from the lawsuit earlier this week, and video footage showed the officers drinking heavily before the altercation, which led DeLuca to accuse them of starting the fight. While DeLuca faced charges of aggravated assault, all charges were eventually dropped. The officers' legal teams argued that the use of force was justified, given DeLuca's resistance.
This year marks the 40th anniversary of the unsolved disappearance of Sherry Mahan, who disappeared just outside of her home in Cabot, Pennsylvania. Sherry was last seen in 1985 getting off of the school bus about 100 yards from her home. Despite a thorough investigation, no one knows for sure what happened to Sherry that day, and her case has been shrouded in a cloud of mystery ever since. There have been many theories about the young girl's disappearance. Her mother believed her biological father was involved. However, police have interviewed her father, and he has denied any involvement. In the last few years, there have been several women who have come forward claiming to be Sherry, but none of these claims have been substantiated so far. The search for Sherry Mahan continues. If you have information about her disappearance, please contact the Pennsylvania State Police at 724-284-8100.
As many of you who use TikTok have probably noticed, it has been a wild week for its users who live in America. Reporter Gabby Waite is here to give you details of exactly what happened and how Point Park students are reacting to all of the charges.
Will TikTok ever be banned in the United States? Is weighing on the minds of many Americans. After the 16-hour shutdown of the app, newly inaugurated President Trump extended the ban to hopefully save the social media platform.
In the week leading up to the TikTok ban, many Americans listened in to the Supreme Court hearing. Many Americans hoped to see the rule be overturned. However, to no avail, the Supreme Court ruled the ban of TikTok on January 19th.
I think the initial ban for me personally wasn't significant in the slightest. But I understand people's frustration with our First Amendment right with regards to that, being able to distribute your opinions and beliefs.
While the app was down for 16 hours, Americans migrated to an app called Xiaohongshu, or Red Note, the Chinese version of TikTok.
Also, I'm a linguist. So as a linguist, I saw a beautiful opportunity for two cultures colliding, and like Americans were trying to learn Chinese and Chinese people were trying to learn more English, and I just thought it was really cool, just the clash of cultures like that.
The official shutdown of TikTok happened at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and while the app became unfunctional, it was only for 16 hours until it was back up and running. TikTok themselves let the American people know that the reason for the app to be working again is because of President Trump extending the period to let another company hopefully buy the platform.
I'm so glad TikTok's gone. I think it was taken away for the wrong reasons, but it would have the right influence.
Although we don't know what will happen next, we will be sure to keep you informed when any new information arises. I'm Gabriella Waite, reporting for UView Television.
Even with the ban taking place, TikTok has still done some good. Hear how one landscaper on the app made a major difference to one of their neighbors. Also, get your weather forecast for the upcoming week.
Take them cue and open their mics.
Today marked the 1-year anniversary of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette strike.
Point Park University just hosted a campus-wide meeting.
Plans for the rapid transit bus line are not set to conclude until 2025.
With the recent temporary TikTok ban filling the headlines these days, here's a TikTok story that will make you smile. SB Mowing, a TikTok landscaper named Spencer, who does free yard work for those in need, raised over $800,000 for an elderly woman who needed help. On January 10th, Spencer posted a video doing yard work for an elderly woman named Beth. Beth explained that she could not do the work for herself and tried to get people to help her, but it was too far gone to get assistance. The city had recently informed Beth that she had to pay a $240 fine if she did not get her yard fixed up soon. That is when Spencer stepped in. He fixed up her yard, and his followers, along with 94 million viewers, fell in love with Beth. Collectively, they began a GoFundMe page and raised over $800,000 to help Beth make her living situation safer and have landscape help for years. In a recent video, Beth told Spencer, quote, "Those are the things dreams are made of," end quote. Pittsburgh, along with a large portion of the country, has been experiencing absolutely freezing temperatures for multiple days. The big question on everyone's mind is how much longer are we going to be experiencing these temperatures? Here with us to help answer that question is NewsNight weather reporter Gabby Waite. Gabby?
That's right, Ruthie. It has been absolutely freezing the past 2 days, and it looks like that pattern is going to hold on into tomorrow. While there's going to be plenty of sun, there is a cold weather advisory that will be put in place until Wednesday afternoon, with the high only reaching 14 degrees, and the temperatures will feel as low as 10. The National Weather Service warns that prolonged exposure can lead to hypothermia and could cause frostbite on exposed skin as little to 30 minutes. They warn you to keep yourself and your pets inside as much as possible and wear appropriate clothes and layers when outside. Luckily, though, as we move into the rest of the week, temperatures will begin to increase. We'll stay right below freezing for the rest of the week, reaching 31 on Thursday and dipping slightly back down to 29 on Friday. There's a very small chance of snow on Friday, but we're mainly looking at sunny skies, scattered clouds both days. The weekend will give us some higher temperatures, reaching 37 on Saturday and 38 on Sunday. However, we are going to have some clouds move in on Sunday to give us some classic Pittsburgh gray. We'll continue those patterns heading into the work week, 36 on Monday and 27 on Tuesday, with even a small chance of snow on Monday. While temperatures are getting warmer, please continue to stay bundled up and minimize the time outside. Now, sending it back to you to desk.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of NewsNight. If you want to see more, check out our social media pages on both Facebook and Instagram at UView Television.
You can also check out more episodes on our YouTube channel or on our website, uview.pointpark.edu. I'm Ruthie Light.
And I'm Alyssa Mandarak. From everyone here at NewsNight, thank you for watching and have a great evening.